What is up, everybody? I am so excited to do this episode because this is our 100th episode of the podcast, and it's also going to be our 100th video that's been released to YouTube. So, wherever you're seeing this or hearing this, thank you so much for supporting PTA Elevation. This is going to come out later than when I'm recording this, but right now I'm recording this in September 2023, and it just passed our 2-year anniversary of PTA Elevation. So, I am just so thankful that I've been able to help so many of you guys pass the boards. I've been able to help about 1,000 PTAs throughout PTA Elevation's, tenure pass the boards, and that number is growing every time the exam is offered. So if you've ever passed the exam at any point and didn't tell me that you passed, please tell me because I want to hear. And I am just so thankful that you guys have trusted me to help you with your NPTE journey. So thank you so much. It takes a lot for me to sit back and reflect, but I am so proud of each and every one of you, watching the growth people have, watching the connections people form when they message me and say, oh my gosh, I finally get it. So I just wanted to come on here and first of all, say thank you to all of you guys for being on this journey with me and for allowing me to, make a difference in your life. And I just really appreciate it. Just very thankful, and just wanted to say that. First of all, this has been a very highly requested video, though, or podcast, wherever you're listening to this. A lot of people have been asking me to introduce myself and tell you my journey. So episode 1 of the podcast kind of just introduced me just a little bit. It was a 5-minute thing, but a lot of people have been wanting to hear, like, Bri, what's your journey? So here I am. I'm going to tell you guys the history of PTA Elevation, a little bit about my journey, how I've been able to get here. And I really appreciate all of you. And this is just for those who are super curious or nosy. I like the nosy people. I really enjoy that. So this is where we've been. So reflecting on how PTA Elevation started. So PTA Elevation started in September of 2021. I was trying to figure out what would be an idea that I could create a business with, because one, I wanted to do something that would, one, help a lot of people, make a lot of impact. And also I knew PT school was coming around the corner. So I was like, it'd be nice to make just a couple extra bucks here and there to just help some people, do some tutoring. Like, that sounds like fun. And it kind of exploded into a big business, which has been so awesome. And I've been really loving to see how much I can, help as many people. Like, the more things I have access to, the more people I can help. So I've just really appreciated everybody, who has been using my services. And I started PTA Elevation specifically because my boyfriend, who I went to PTA school with, some of you guys might have seen him, Nick, he didn't pass the exam the first time it was offered, or that he took the exam. And he was really bummed about it. And I felt really bad because I couldn't help him study when he was first studying for the exam. So what I did the second time he was able to study for the exams, he was investing in a course to teach him some things, but there were so many things that I was helping with that I was like, man, if I only could make videos on this or make something, or be there to teach him when I'm studying for my other things and I was in class. I just really wanted to make something that could be accessed at any time. So that's why I was like, pre-recorded videos would be nice, but I needed content to learn from. And I had taken the boards. I graduated PTA school in 2020, so it was a lot of craziness. I got licensed in January 2021, and I was super excited when I finally saw my license, which is on the back wall behind me, that said Briana Drapp, licensed PTA. I was like, oh, this is awesome. It was so great. And so I saw Nick was struggling. I was like, I want that for him as well. He's worked super hard for this. He deserves this just as much as anybody else. So what I ended up doing is I was going over, the tests that he would take, like the score builders test with him, and we were going through those, and then he would ask me a bunch of questions. And I started to realize as we were going through these practice exams, I was like, they ask the same questions the same kind of way. And I remember how this showed up on the exam. And I realized, with any subject, there's only 3 or 4 ways they could ask the question. So I was like, let me figure out what are the 3 or 4 things that they're talking about. So once I figured that out, of the 3 or 4 things that they would commonly quiz on, I realized I could create key words. If you see this, it's probably talking about this, or key concepts that if you see this concept, it probably means this. And I was like, oh, so it was a lot of pattern recognition. And once I finally recognized that there was this explicit pattern that was happening, I was like, oh my gosh, I got this. I have, I've cracked the code essentially. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what they're going to ask and this is how they're going to ask it. So I was starting to teach Nick. I was like, hey, look for this, look for that. And then like on his next practice exam, like when he took the PET, like obviously you can't review the PET because it's on lockdown, but when he took the PET, he's like, Bree, there are things that you were telling me to look for and I saw them and I answered it and I got it right. And so it was a combination of the stuff he was learning in one of his remediation courses. And then also from our studying that I was like, oh my gosh, I've seen so many questions. I've seen so much information. Like I've been asked so many questions. This is the key. This is the key. And then when he took the exam, he passed on his second attempt and he was really excited. So he passed in July of 2021. And then he became licensed. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like those things that I was telling him. And he came out of the exam and said, hey, the things you were helping me with, like, were on the test and they were asked in the way that you were starting to predict that they were going to be asked. So I was anticipating questions, even though I hadn't even seen them. So I was like, oh, this is working. So it worked. And then I thought to myself, like, I had, gone through a little bit. I finished up my studies, was applying to PT school, sending in the applications, finishing up my essay. And I had finally gotten a hold of some coaching to help with business stuff. And I was talking to my mentors. I like was dabbling a little bit into different things. And then I was like, oh, I did this thing for Nick. I helped him pass. If I can help Nick, I can help other people. So that's when PTA Elevation was born. I started the podcast and I was super excited to start that. That was one of my favorite things. So we had a podcast episodes. And then I was like, let's put some videos on YouTube. I filmed my first video, which was adhesive capsulitis. And I just started creating more and more videos. I realized like I kind of wanted to make it out into a whole course. I got 4 beta testers in there and I had all 4 of those beta testers pass when I was starting out with my coaching program. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is working. Like I'm getting somewhere with this. So the course just kept building from that point forward. The content that I was putting out just kept building. And so I had a bunch of people go through. And once I did my next launch of my masterclass, I was like, oh, hey, this is going somewhere. I'm learning a lot of things. I'm learning what works. I'm learning what doesn't work. I'm learning how to motivate people and how to teach people to be resourceful with the things that they're learning. And I was just having a great time. I was like, this is a lot of fun. I still have a great time coaching my students. It's one of my favorite things to do. And then we created the last minute review session because everyone's like, we want a crash course before the exam. Now, it's not really a crash course. It's more of like a 6-hour review session to make sure that all the content that you need to look at, you get a second look at. It's to review a bunch of material. And it started off as 3 hours and somehow it's got up to like 6.5. So I get really excited and I just keep talking and it keeps going and people keep getting served. And I just was loving the impact that I was seeing. I've realized I've been able to, build out different practice exams, build out a whole website, really just help a lot of people. The Instagram page, going live on Instagram, posting all the Muscle Mondays, like just being able to really do all the things that I've been able to do with PTA Elevation and serve you guys at the highest level, whether you're my client or not. I know 90% of people will never pay me a dime, and that's totally fine because nothing feels better than when you guys send me your pass circles and you guys pass, especially those who it's been multiple attempts and you thought it was never possible, but like some video I made or some content that I put out was like a wake up call, or like you finally figured out like how you want to study. Like maybe I was talking about a like Pomodoro method or something and you just ran with that, or like active recall or mind mapping. Like maybe I was talking about that and you just ran with it. And that was the key to clicking, to making you realize I got this, I can do this. And then you ended up passing. Like that's why I do what I do. I want people to be in control of their own destiny, which this exam is really tough for a lot of people and it really sucks. And I just wanted to help as many people as possible. So, I mean, I went to PTA school because I really enjoyed spending time with patients. I really like hearing their stories. Like you can learn so much from every single patient. And we have the best profession, guys. We really do. The amount of like connections we can make with the people that we help, the difference that we can truly make in people's lives, being like the first one to help them up after surgery, to like just being able to be somebody who's there for them and treats them like a human being. It's a beautiful profession that we have. And I just wanted to make sure that I was doing something that would, one, just be able to give impact, but also allow me to serve all of the people without having to worry about becoming that burnt out PT in a typical PT setting. But I'm just so happy that I've been able to go on this journey with you guys. Like, y'all are great. I really appreciate it. A lot of people have been asking me, I just want to answer this question because it's a commonly asked question. Bree, why did you go back to PT school? So I'm a nerd. I really like learning, as you guys I can tell. And just even through my internships, like I just had an acute care rotation in the ICU. I learned so much, and I love taking all the things I learn and teaching you guys. And going to PT school allows me to really see like what's the difference between the PTA exam and the PT exam. Because like when I took the PTA exam, the questions were like the types of questions and the way that they ask questions is different than how they'll ask it on the PT exam. So being able to go through both options, I really know like what is an appropriate question to be asking a PTA student, and then what's more of a PT related question. So it's really allowed me to be better at distinguishing what kind of questions I write for my students. And then it's also allowed me to learn a lot of stuff. And I love learning. I think it's so much fun. I love teaching. Honestly, I'm an anatomy tutor. I have messed up my tax forms. I'm not even getting paid for it at this point. I don't care. I love teaching you guys. I love serving you guys. I like helping make sense of really complicated topics, and I like breaking it down. So this whole thing has been a culmination of how Bree makes complicated things make sense in small terms. And I really appreciated everyone coming along this journey. I will do another one of these at episode 200. But I'm just so thankful for this opportunity. I'm so just blessed to be in the position that I am, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. Some people are like, are you going to just forget about us and go do PTs? I'm doubling down on PTAs. As long as there's an exam to take, I am here. I am serving you guys, and I'm providing value. So keep on at it. Keep studying. Thank you for listening to my story. If you guys are interested in learning more, just feel free to message me on Instagram. I'm ride or die with you guys till the end. So I appreciate it, guys, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.